Okay, let's dive in. Picture this. You're prepping for a flight, right? And you check the weather for, say, the Sahara. You know what to expect. Hot, dry, sunny, super predictable. But do you ever stop and think, why it's always like that? I mean, it's not just the forecast for tomorrow. It's the typical pattern, year in, year out. That's climate, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's what we're tackling today, a deep dive into climatology. It's all about the why. Why are certain places typically hot and dry while others are wet and stormy? It's about those big global patterns. And for anyone working towards their ATPL exams, getting your head around these core principles is, well, absolutely essential. It's not just knowing today's weather, but understanding the underlying reasons for the typical conditions you'll face.
So our mission here, using all the source material we've got from the basic concepts right through to detailed case studies of specific flight routes, is to build that solid understanding for you.
Yeah, we want to unpack the engine behind global climate, look at the main climate zones, see how local stuff modifies them.
And then tie it all together with real-world examples on actual flight paths. The goal is to pull out those crucial bits of knowledge you need for your ATPL theory.
It's really about building a framework. So when you see a TAF or a sigma, you can place it in the bigger picture. Okay, this makes sense because it's this season, this latitude, and the ITCZ is typically here. That kind of thinking.
Makes sense. It's about understanding the system, not just memorizing facts.
Precisely.
Okay, first things first. People often mix up weather and climate. Let's quickly nail the difference.
Good point. Weather is the snapshot, right? What's happening now, or maybe over the next day or two. Temperature, wind, rain, clouds. The immediate conditions, it changes constantly.
Like today's outfit.
Yeah, it's something like that. Climatology, though, is the whole wardrobe. It's the long-term average, the typical patterns over seasons, years, even decades for a specific place. What's the usual temperature range in July? How much rain do they typically get? It's predictable in a broader sense.
Got it. Wardrobe, not outfit. So we're focusing on the wardrobe today. What's the main force driving this whole global climate wardrobe?
It really boils down to one thing, the sun, and specifically how unevenly it heats the Earth's surface. The equator gets way more direct, intense sunlight than the poles.
Okay, makes sense.
This difference in heating creates temperature differences. Temperature differences lead to pressure differences, and pressure differences make air move. That large-scale movement of air in the troposphere, that's our weather layer, that's the engine, it drives the predictable patterns we see over seasons.
And the classic model to understand this large-scale movement is the Hadley cell concept. That seems like the absolute foundation.
It really is. It starts right at the equator. Intense solar heating warms the surface. The air above it gets hot, becomes less dense, and rises strongly.
Okay, hot air rising.
And as that air rises, it leaves behind an area of low pressure at the surface, the equatorial low, sometimes called the doldrums or the equatorial trough. This rising air is also full of moisture it picked up from the warm tropical oceans.
So lots of upward movement, lots of moisture.
Exactly. This air keeps rising until it bumps into the tropopause, that kind of lid at the top of the troposphere. It's highest over the equator, maybe 50, 60,000 feet up.
Can't go higher, so.
So it spreads out horizontally, moving away from the equator towards the poles at high altitude.
And as it travels away at that height,
It cools down, radiationally and just by mixing. As it cools, it gets denser, heavier, and eventually it starts to sink back towards the surface.
where does it typically sink?
Generally around 30 degrees latitude, both north and south, and by the time it sinks, it's lost most of its moisture. It rained that out back near the equator. So this sinking air is cool and, importantly, dry.
Sinking air. That means high pressure.
You've got it.
Yeah.
This descending air piles up at the surface, creating belts of high pressure, the subtropical highs. Think deserts.
Ah, okay. So rising air, low pressure, rain at the equator. Sinking air, high pressure, dry conditions around 30 degrees. What about the poles?
Kind of the opposite extreme. Very little direct sunlight means intense cooling at the surface. Cold air is dense, so it's...
All right. Many thanks for listening to this free part of the ATPL Theory podcast. If you want to continue learning and access the full comprehensive guide, go to my Patreon at patreon.com/ATPLtheory or my Hero at herohero.co/ATPL. That is patreon.com/ATPLtheory or herohero.co/ATPL. Wishing you all the best